But there's a sweet science to boxing. There's a sweet science to boxing.
The best and the coolest thing about my career is called the sweet science.
There's a sweet science to boxing.
It's to hit and not get hit.
Let's get to it. So we got Caleb Plant. Now, Caleb Plant was on Fight Hype and he was talking about David Morrell. Now, they was asking him, is there a fight that he think would be good? And he basically was saying that he think it would be a good fight for boxing, but at the same time, he didn't really sound too interested in fighting David Morrell. And to be honest with you, can't really blame him. I mean, especially if you've seen David Morrell fight, and I got him beating Caleb Plant if that fight were to happen. But without further ado, I'll go ahead and let you guys hear what he said on this clip.
What do you think of the David Morrell fight?
The David Morrell fight, I mean, that's a big fight. You know, he hasn't had a whole lot of outings, but, you know, that's another big fight that, you know, I'm sure boxing would love too. So,
is that, you envision that being a thing where it's like, if you want to get the Canelo rematch, the Benavidez rematch, that might be a guy you got to get through to get them?
Yeah, I mean, could be. So, in the meantime, you know, I know my plans and what I'm looking to do, and if I get a tune-up, if the Jermall fight happens after that, you know, I'm sure that the gates will be wide open on any big fight. So
like you just heard him, he sound like he wouldn't mind the fight happening, but it sound like he ain't really interested in that. Sound like he's more interested in getting the tune-up first, then fighting Jermall Charlo. So he's very devoted to fighting Jermall Charlo. That's what he really wants to do. Sound like he don't really want to fight David Morrell. You can't really blame him. You know, David Morrell, well, I guess you can blame him because it's boxing, right? We don't want nobody ducking nobody, especially when you're in the same division. But then at the same time, David Morrell ain't done nothing himself. You know, he only got 10 fights. This the guy that I also said who I had beating David Benavidez. You know, you guys want to call David Benavidez the Mexican monster. David Morrell, he could easily be known as the monster slayer. That's how good he is. Listen, you're talking about somebody as big as David Benavidez, probably more power than David Benavidez. Look at your screens. Look at your screens. Probably more power than David Benavidez. And if you've seen both of them box, you'll realize that he have way more skills than David Benavidez when it comes to foot placement, when it comes to defense, when it comes to how he boxed overall.
Which is fucking bullshit.
David Benavidez a little flat-footed. You know, it works for him because, you know, he comes with the pressure and he got power, you know. So it definitely works for him. So I don't blame Caleb Plant saying he's not interested in David Morrell, which he never actually said it out of his mouth, but he said it through his energy.